right, folks, grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskies presents Tales of the Trophies, Best of the Rest. I'm Mike with EJ. How's it going, pal?
Still recovering from one of the worst betting beats that we've had in a while,
That was pretty
where
rough.
we lost a cover in the most asinine way ever, which just further puts salt in just the wound for me and in general for my college football team and
Yeah.
in Jonathan Smith deciding to kick a field goal with backups in,
I mean,
down
what was he doing?
25
What was
or
he doing there?
28.
He had to just be thinking about the cover at that point.
For
There's
sure.
there's no other reason you kick that field goal.
Nope. Just like I think on the flip side with Indiana, they had a chance to, it was 4th and 1, and they
Uh-huh.
had gone for it the drive before, and they settled for a field goal as well. Because I
hmm
think Kurt was also thinking about his cover and his
hmm
people covering.
Yeah, it's that's it's the one problem with this gambling, man. Is sometimes these
Well,
coaches really stick it to you.
to be
So,
fair, though, like it's a bit embarrassing on Kurt's for as ruthless as he has been. I don't even care that they had it was coming off a big win. He has been ruthless, and it is one of only a couple trophies that they have at home. And for them to only put up what I don't even remember what it was, like 38.
mhm.
That's
You
that's
you
that's
want you
that's
well, I mean,
that wasn't a good
you
look
expected a 50 burger.
because it should have UCLA put up a 50 burger. So either UCLA with Sunshine, which it's hilarious that people think he's the coach because he's not, the Nepo
He-
baby,
no.
because he's just been there. Like his dad got him, he went there. His dad helped him get like into the program as a grad assistant before he got canned, and then he's just lingered.
I think
And now he's about to be the head coach next year.
well, yeah, that's well, because if you look at him, well, obviously there's the visual of him being carried off the field, right? Like after they beat Penn State. Like there was the whole, thing of him being carried off the field, which I think that went a long way. And when that's the clip that they're showing, and they're showing it because New Heisel's, like on, is part of the announcing group. So like obviously they're part of the media, so they're showing his kid and stuff. So people are just like, oh, that must be the head coach. Wow, it's New Heisel's kid. But then when you watch that clip of him addressing the locker room after the win, it's
Yeah,
like, boy, hard to hard to argue that that's not the guy that the team wants as the head coach.
sure. I
Um,
just think it's hilarious. Like and I mean, well, we've talked about this at nauseum about just how bad some of these broadcasting crews can be. But like this, we're not talking about like uh, I don't even know a Sun Belt conference school, and you're like, oh, I really don't know who the coaches are. This is a Power Four conference, and it's not like it's like, oh, but it is a Power Four conference like Kansas. It's UCLA. Like
mhm,
everyone knows UCLA. I know they're
mhm.
not known for football, right? But it's
Yeah,
still like a major program in one of the biggest cities in the country.
right,
And
right.
for you as a broadcast team to not know who the interim coach
Yeah,
is baffling. It's
yeah,
just crazy to me. Like
yeah.
how bad people can be at their jobs and still have them and make a lot of money having them.
Oh, significant amount. Yeah, significant amount. Yeah. Um, I think it's also, like I said, I think a lot of it's just playing to New Heisel, being in, with him being in the media now and him being like a legend in the game too and stuff. So, well, he's legend loosely, but you know what I mean.
Very
So
loosely.
very loosely, yeah.
Well, beyond that disappointment, which we can get to later, um, I have a couple of thoughts. One, I think like I we kind of I was a bit more structured this time with actually like laying out the games that we should talk about that just happened last week. But I
Oh my
think
God.
like I
There's a
think
lot to talk about.
There is because there was like it was like a sleepy. I didn't realize it until I thought about it, like what went on this weekend.
Hmm.
And I will say, or this past weekend, and I will say we as a podcast, and now it's getting like good, but also tricky and a little bit labor intensive is we need to probably do a better job of highlighting these trophies as they're like not just the ones we're talking about in this season, but just like as a reminder of what is coming up, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
because like we had one of these games we'll talk about is a trophy that we talked about 2 weeks ago that happened. Obviously, the one that we just talked about last week happened as well that weekend.
Mhm.
And then this weekend we have a couple of classics, a couple of our two favorites that are happening this weekend. So I definitely want to do a better job, especially on probably like on Twitter, reminding folks
Yeah.
um, that these trophies are happening, and if they obviously want to know more information, they know where to go.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that's something, especially now that we're getting closer and closer to the end of the season, which is usually like rivalry weekend, just kind of pointing it out to folks because maybe even they are planning on turning on a game. Obviously, you guys that have listened to us for 5 years are gonna likely remember that there's trophies, but if you guys are new listeners, you could turn on Iowa, Minnesota, probably by accident, and not realize that there's this beautiful 100-pound bronze pig that will be on top of offensive linemen's shoulders at the end of that game and
Right.
likely get, on broadcast. But let's start, I guess, with the game that happened. The biscuit, your biscuit play. It was also a big game because it was at the time the number two team in the nation, the Hurricanes, the U, taking on Louisville. And not only did Louisville cover that 13 and a half, 12 and a half, 11 and a half, whatever it ended up, whatever you got as the game got closer, um, they won outright.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and this felt like one of those little like sleepy spots for the U. Like Friday night just feels like anytime you're in a weeknight game, you never know what's gonna happen. And you know, Braum, man, what can you say about him? He's got something going there now, I think. So and Carson Beck looked like Carson Beck in Georgia, which is not a great thing.
No, I feel like it was one of those situations where we've been waiting for this game, right? We've been waiting for Beck to look like Beck.
Yeah.
That the Hurricanes to while they have some very dominant players that are going to be playing on Sunday and likely hear their name very early on in at the end of May, it just they've been playing so well, but you just kind of knew again that they necessarily weren't this unicorn of a team to easily cruise through, go 13 and 0 and not even, think about it. And you start to think, okay, well, it's ACC, so maybe they have a chance. I don't know. I didn't necessarily think like covering Louisville covering is one thing. I didn't think they would lose outright because you're at home. They still haven't left the state of Florida this entire season yet.
Yeah.
You're at home. You're both off a bye.
Yeah.
So you had distance between the emotional rivalry game. Obviously, Louisville had their bye too, but like Miami had their bye. So, and Louisville, while they are confusing to say the least, like potentially really good, but they haven't necessarily
They're a
shown
little
that.
Jekyll and Hyde. They're yeah.
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 I just didn't see it in the cards, I guess pun intended, for them to really win that game in
Mhm.
Miami. But yeah, it was now if you're Miami, I'm sure if you're a fan, you're probably having a little bit of PTSD because now you start to flirt with, okay, so Louisville has the tiebreaker with you. Georgia Tech's still undefeated. Um, if you lose another game and you don't get to the ACC championship game,
Well,
uh,
do we think that yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's any room if they don't get to the ACC championship game, honestly. I don't. But do you think Georgia Tech's going undefeated?
In conference play, I mean, they're you could question whether or not they're going to beat Georgia at the end of the year. Obviously, they damn near did it last year, and it's not like this Georgia defense has looked like it should.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I guess I mean as we're talking here, I'm gonna pull up their schedule here. So the rest of the year, so they play at home against Syracuse. Okay. At North Carolina State. Okay. At Boston College, one of the worst programs in the nation. And then Pitt, but Pitt's at home. And then Georgia. So like could they? I absolutely,
Hmm.
right? Like will they? I mean, probably not. They're probably going to lose one of these games. But that's the problem with Miami though is now okay, so you have this one ACC loss and I'll tell you what, that last game of the year down in Heinz Field is probably not a game that any Miami fan is looking forward to with the way that Pitt has looked this year, has been able to sling the ball, and they're always good for that kind of upset. I mean, maybe it is
They
Florida
did to
State.
they did to Louisville, or they did to Louisville when a couple years ago. It was
Yeah.
sleepy game like
I
that.
mean, they've
Yeah.
done it to Clemson time and time
Yep.
again. So yeah, I don't know because now that I'm looking at the schedule here, like or the ACC standings, so you have Georgia Tech that hasn't lost and they haven't lost in general, so that's already like big. Virginia has not lost in conference yet and only has one loss.
Can't believe
SMU
it.
has not lost in conference yet, and so forget about like the playoff necessarily getting two ACC schools. It's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be Georgia Tech. Maybe if it's Georgia Tech versus maybe a one loss Miami and Miami wins, maybe both get in. But I don't know. If I'm Miami, it's PTSD where you look really really great, and then it's going to be some dumb game at the end of the year, and
Yep.
you don't even make the playoff. Like we were talking about winning a national championship, and now they're
Well,
like flirting with
yeah. Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
that we were talking about winning a national championship, but yeah, yeah.
I would say a couple weeks ago when you were to ask people who's the best teams in the nation, I would say it was at, a lot of people would have said Miami and a lot of people probably would have said Ohio State, right? Like
If a lot of people jump off a bridge, are you jumping off the bridge, EJ? That's I would
okay,
never.
if I would have asked you 3 weeks ago if you would have been confident any SEC school, including your own, was a national championship like winner,
No, no,
I
no,
think
no,
you
no.
would have had
But
your
I
trepidation as
never
well.
believed in Miami at any point. Like, well, mm, maybe I take that back. I think that their offensive line, defensive line are two of the best units in the nation. So I think that that's fair. Like I that was the big thing for me. Like seeing how dominant they were in the trenches, because that travels, that goes a long way. So, um,
And it's just one game, don't get me wrong, but I'm
right.
just saying, like, if you're a Miami fan, you're kind of clenching, right? Like, because, okay, so they play Stanford at home, fine. But going to SMU, just having to travel, right? And the Ponies are a decent team. They're not like elite, but they're enough to beat you when you're going to Texas. And then you have Cuse, NC State. We'll see what Virginia Tech looks like because now they could get a little bit of a bump now that the coach is gone, right? And doesn't mean that Miami's going to lose that game, but going to Lane Stadium, especially if it's at night, and then you follow that up with at Pittsburgh, likely in the cold, against a team. I don't know. I just feel like I feel for Miami fans because this could be a very good team that misses the playoff again.
You know what's funny is that I was actually talking to someone about college football today. I forget who. And I mentioned how like one of the interesting things with college football is what you mentioned with Virginia Tech, that bump that you can get whenever you lose when you fire your head coach. It's like sometimes that ends up, a team that's like kind of sleepwalking through the season can actually end up being pretty solid when that happens. So,
I mean, why don't we'll skip a couple of these games down to one of the trophies we talked about, the Bones.
mhm.
So this was a game where you had Memphis traveling to UAB and UAB was fresh off of firing Trent Dilfer as their coach and was, just obviously not playing very well. Memphis is fighting for a playoff appearance, right? Like they are in that conversation. And while it was a potential trap game for them because they have South Florida this week, it's a rivalry game, and again, like you're a 20-point favorite. Now, could I have seen them not cover? Yes. To lose outright in that game, boy, boy, they better
Yeah.
beat South Florida and make it worth it, right? Like, so you travel down in a rivalry game and clearly looked ahead, and I don't know. That's just that's rough for Memphis.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was pretty shocked whenever I saw. Hey, I watching the game. I just saw the highlights coming through. And yeah, when they pulled it out, when the Blazers pulled it out, I was like, "Whoa, that's." Did you watch much of it? Like, did you see much of
Mm-mm.
what happened, or no?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't get a chance.
yeah. Yeah, I was a little locked in on. My attention was elsewhere. But yeah, it was. It was definitely shocking to see. Yeah, there's a team. I mean, you talk about someone who like I don't think of Mizzou as an or Memphis as a national champion, but
Huh,
thinking of a school that like could make a run at it. Like maybe like win their first, maybe their second playoff game. You
sure.
know, certainly. And
And now they're
well, they looked
looking
awful
down the
mortal.
barrel. Yeah. Well, now they're just you're almost out of it already, right? That loss just might be enough. I mean, I don't know. South Florida is it seems like in the lead to be that team now, but I don't know if there's even anyone else. But that loss, even if they beat South Florida, I don't know if there's another team that's maybe undefeated that would kind of jump both of them in that instance. I'm not sure, but yeah, just one of those things, man. And but it's again, it was that coach bump. And we could go into the next game here that I have listed, and it's one of our rivalry games that we talked about a few years ago, but the Southwest Classic with A&M and Arkansas. And I'll tell you what, Arkansas has looked I don't think I'd want to play them right now. Now that Pittman's gone, they
No.
they look pretty feisty, and in this game, they gave A&M all that they could handle in a 45-42 showdown or classic. Right? It
Yeah.
seems like these two teams always play each other tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I again didn't see much of the highlights there. I don't even think I don't think I saw any highlights. I think I just saw the final. I was like, oh wow, like they almost had him there. Yeah, no, definitely don't want to like Arkansas is one of those teams that could definitely end up being a spoiler for someone here
Yeah.
down the road. What's the rest of their schedule look like?
Actually, I feel like it was it already this week that I was looking at Auburn. So
Oh,
Auburn
yeah,
goes
that's right.
to Fayetteville, and I believe that the Hogs are
Uh,
favored by a point and a half.
oh boy.
Yeah, so it could be as soon as now. Then they go to LSU, go to Texas. I don't know. I mean, I guess they could be feisty on the road. I'm going to assume it's probably going to be more of a trap game when you come to Fayetteville, but then they finish with Missouri, and I don't who
Yeah.
knows. Missouri's probably not looking, looking at a playoff appearance, but they would probably be in line for the next like tier of bowl games, and Arkansas could definitely play spoiler in yeah, in that game as well.
Arkansas has a chance to get Hugh Freeze fired here, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
yeah.
Um okay. We have a game that you watched most like almost all of it, and I caught like the tail end of it. But it was Kirby,
Oh,
Lane, fat jokes before the game. I think even like a fat joke rebuttal after the game. Just some great camaraderie between the two, and even a greater game.
I was just begging you to turn it on because I mean, it was just like, I mean, they just would not stop scoring touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, Ole Miss didn't punt until the fourth quarter, and that's ultimately what sealed their fate is two punts in a row because Georgia just didn't stop scoring. It was incredible, man. I mean, it was. it's interesting. I think it does a lot for the narrative of like Lane can't road lane, right? So I think that hit their game this week when they who they had this week. They have
Tell you.
Ole
I
Miss
feel like this
has
was another spread that I looked at as well because it was intriguing. Oh yeah, that's right.
A&M
Good luck,
or
Lane.
no? Oh no,
Uh,
A&M goes to LSU.
in
Where's
Norman,
Lane go? Where?
Norman,
Oh yeah, yeah, Oklahoma. That's right. Well, so
and I
that's the thing
believe,
though. That's the
yeah,
thing though, is that like if Mateer is, if his thumb was bothering him more than he let on, oh, I maintain a lot of the issue with him in Red River, what Mateer's issue in Red River was his decision making, not necessarily his throws, just like he was making poor decisions. But like, I know that Venables and Oklahoma have good defense, but like, I don't know that they can stop like Ole Miss enough to score enough, right? Like if Mateer is, like I said, if the thumb was bothering him and now he's good to go, then like, that's a totally different thing. But yeah, man. I mean, I think that like that offense can score. The biggest thing is the defense just like, and they talked about this on the broadcast, like they're just not beefy enough right now from like to really compete with the big dogs of the college football world. Like
yeah.
they're undersized, they're fast, but they are undersized. And I think that's what kind of like wore them down as time went on. So it was definitely a war of attrition that game.
And
Um
and that's kind of where, like, I mean, honestly, we'll see. We'll see what I do this week, but I just feel like that's a tough spot for Mississippi, right? So
yeah,
not only do you have like a that's lingering in your mind, right, that you can't win any against anyone with a pulse outside of Vaught Hemingway,
that
and
was, but it was a really close game, and between the hedges. Like that was a close game.
exactly, and they lost. So now you have this emotional game. So now, rewind. You're going into this game, and is Lane going to win the big one? He hasn't. It's just a continuous bit of like he's really, really good. He's James Franklin in the South. It's a common thing that people say, and it's just until to this point has been true. So then you go in between the hedges, you literally dominate for every bit of this game beside the last like 10 minutes, right? You're unstoppable and punt twice in the fourth quarter, and you lose a heartbreaker, and now your reward is traveling
Go
to
Norman.
Oklahoma, another ranked team that has something to fight for, and you're on the road again. And yeah, you're right. Like if that offense that was there for 3.5 quarters comes to Norman, yeah, they're probably gonna have a good time at the end. I don't know. It seems like every week there's only been a few teams that have been able to continuously um big game after big game after big game after
Mhm.
big game and survive it. It's been Bama's been one, and it hasn't looked great at times, but it's been, a wins or wins. Outside of that, I don't know that there's really been a team that's been able to take emotional games like that. So I don't know. I have my doubts that Lane and Co are just gonna be, could have been just that lightning in a bottle. It's Georgia, it's Kirby, and now it's, I don't know,
Yeah,
disappointment going to Oklahoma. We'll see.
yeah. I mean, we'll see. I don't think that loss is the end of the world for them, but we'll see. I mean, I didn't think Penn State losing in double overtime to Oregon was the end of the world for them either. And look what happened. So who
Yeah.
knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, no, I mean, it gets A&M really hasn't lost yet. God, I have not been paying attention because I just know these SEC schools are gonna lose games anyway. Like that, like Ole Miss, right? Like
Hmm.
did not clock that they were the fourth team, fourth ranked team or whatever it was
We're
going into
getting
that
to it
game.
now, man, though. Getting to late October, early November, things are going to get weird. So,
Yeah. Um, yeah, Sooners are favored by 5.5, 4.5. That kind of tells you there, like
oh yeah, man, I would pick them to be favored in that game for sure.
by
For sure.
over a field goal after
Yeah.
what you just told me about how great Ole Miss looked between the hedges. I was shocked when I saw this was over a field goal.
Mm,
I would have thought this would have been flirting with like 2.5
mm,
if people really believed in Lane Kiffin, but Vegas, it's not.
mm. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens.
All right, other classics here before we get to your game. Might as well just save that for last. Arizona State, Texas Tech. So that was again a game that I didn't get to watch most of it, but I caught the most important part, and I was texting you at the end, and it was just yeah, it was a great just a great game. You had Arizona State up, then you had Texas Tech have this dramatic drive after like this huge punt return to get them into scoring position. But then you could just feel it was like, this is too quick, right? It was like one of those classics. Is it too fast? And it ended up being the case because then Arizona State goes all the way down the field in crunch time and kicks a game-winning field goal. And it was great. This was what when we did this preview, this was a game, especially in the Big 12, that we had circled. And as the season has progressed, Arizona State's disappointed a bit. Texas Tech has been less of a question mark, and they always had this potential, but you never know whether buy-in transfers are always going to click immediately. And yeah, it was an instant classic.
Did you see the video of the when the field goal post came down and almost killed some people? Like, I
No,
mean, but everyone's still on the field.
yeah,
Like, just what, like the field goal post came down immediately and like almost took out like a Texas Tech player and an official. And yeah, it was a scene. Yeah.
yeah.
And there was a little
So
chippiness on the field too. I saw videos of people like chirping the players and stuff like that, which like, what are you doing? Like, come on, man. Like, don't, if you're a fan, dude, like that's where.
it's college kids, dude.
Yeah, well, but that's where it's like the players should just be able to crack off and
Right, right,
just haul off and crack you in the face. So like if
right.
you get in my face running on the field like that, you should just be able to like it's just like total Thunderdome rules at that point in my book. So
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's worth a suspension, right? Sometimes, when you're
sometimes you
fed
got
up,
LeGarrette Blunt, you know?
yeah, or sometimes you just gotta punch, gotta punch Juju in the face.
Yeah,
It's worth it when people are being bitches. Sometimes
that's
it's
right.
just it's worth it, right?
That's
Bama
right.
boy, he doesn't mess around.
Yeah, yeah.
He
That's
took
right, man.
that little California kid and set him straight.
I
Which was
will
also
say,
hilarious when you saw like other people. Was it Zaire Franklin that was like, yeah, Juju's a bitch, and he
yeah,
needed that. He was like
yeah.
the only person that had the balls enough to like. Most people were kind of quiet about it. Some had to say like, oh, I can't do that, and he was like, no, he's like doing God's work. I think is what he said
Yeah, dude.
because
I
he's like
think
Juju is terrible. He's a trash talker that like will say shit and then run away type deal. And he's like,
yeah.
no, he needed to get hit in the face. So
No, I think that your Lions took that loss personally. I think that Chiefs loss probably helped to galvanize that team a little bit. Like, all
yeah,
right.
no,
Yeah.
Tampa had no chance.
Yeah, none.
That was like just like I told you before that game. Remember, you were like, oh, joking with me whether I wanted to record, and I was like, no, I'm probably gonna fall asleep. And you're like, how are you gonna fall asleep? And I was like, because there's no way the NFL is gonna let the Chiefs go 2-4. There's just no way.
Mhm.
And I told you that before the game. Sure
Yep.
enough, it was. This is the margin of error that they were working with the
Yeah.
Lions, and obviously, ended up in a terrible spot. So it was. I knew we were set to lose that one, and just as I knew Tampa was just set to lose against us because it was
Yeah.
just they had been playing razor thin. We were pissed. All the DBs had BB jerseys on after the game. They all
Did
bought
they?
BB jerseys. Yeah.
Nice.
Campbell's wife had a pendant that was number 32.
Nice.
Yeah, now the team. Well, because the hit piece. It wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily that he got suspended, but the subsequent hit piece that the NFL put out and quickly had to delete, actually, thanks to Pat. I think Pat was the first one to really like be like, you sure about that? um, to make them pull that down. But yeah, no, it's neither here nor there. Vandy. We probably have to talk about Vandy. they're kind of for real, right? I mean, I know LSU is a bit overrated, but that's still not a game Vandy wins anytime ever.
Diego Pavia is really starting to wear on me though. Like all the shenanigans, like he wore some like a ski mask into the game or what, like
He's 30 years old. Let him have like
just
he know this is it for him. What the
just
fuck's
go.
he gonna do? He's gonna
Yeah,
be a
no,
cart.
I want him to start bagging groceries now. Like put the fries in the bag, sir. Put the football down and put the fries in the bag. Yeah, I am so done with Diego Pavia.
Well,
I'm over him.
the problem is they have a legitimate chance to make a run here. I mean, they have Missouri this week, who's ahead of them in the standings. They
Mm.
have Texas. Um, After
They have a
that,
murderer's row
no,
of the
they have a
schedule.
bye.
They have a
Um,
murderer's row of the schedule. Yeah.
then Hugh Freeze, well, likely Hugh Freeze less Auburn, bad Kentucky, and then they finish the season against their rival, who is already have two losses. So,
Mm.
yeah, I mean they can knock two teams out. Ole Miss has a chance, and Oklahoma, one of those two will be knocked out as well. Um, yeah, I mean they it's actually crazy, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that we could see a Vanderbilt team in the SEC championship game. Or crazy enough, Indiana Vanderbilt in the playoff is just going to be absolutely lit, right?
I hope Sig like buries him. Like I would love it just to see Indiana put a 50 burger on them and Pavia like just get ripped limb from limb by their defense. So yeah, that's what I'd like to see. That's
Man,
what
I
I'm
just
cheering for.
I just never thought Vanderbilt would just have a part of your head, man. They're just
It's
it's
just
not a big
Pavia,
part,
dude.
but it's just they got a smidge. If I would
And
have told
well,
you that 10 years
it's
ago.
no when you are practicing kneel downs in pregame warm-ups, like I that's just a level of smug that I just cannot abide it. Like that's just what are we doing? Like that just I cannot cheer for you at that point. So
Holy War. That
Holy
was a
War.
yes, that was first off, I think this needs to be mandatory. If you have well, every school has a really intense rivalry. And if your rivalry, and I think in most cases this is the case because they're likely in state and this will likely happen. If you have colors that are so opposite, your rivalry game should always be full color, full color. The
It's
red and the
gotta
blue.
I I don't think that I think this I agree. It looks awesome. It looks awesome for them. I don't think you can do it for everyone though. I think that like USC, UCLA, certainly. I think
Sure.
it's blue and red is definitely like the biggest like so I guess you could say that like Auburn and Alabama could do it and
No,
everything,
but
but
that's not the rival, right? Red and orange.
well, yeah, I guess. I mean, if we're talking in-state rivalries,
I'm
it's
talking
Auburn.
about your rival. So, like, yes, most of them are in state. So my comment there was just like when there's two schools in state, they're very likely to not be close in color schemes, right? Like there are going to be some rivals that are reds and reds if they're out of state rivals, but for the most part, if one school's blue, then the other school's going to do something completely
Yeah,
opposite, right?
yeah.
Whatever comes.
But
So yeah, like
do you think Michigan would look good if they
a
did
green
that?
and a blue. Oh yeah. I would be all about that. I would be about Texas and Oklahoma. Give me some red and
Th-
orange there.
I could
I
yes.
I think you could. I'm trying to think of some of these other big would blue and the Georgia red potentially. There might be a little bit because
See, but that's one where I
does
like
Florida
that's one
have
almost where I want Georgia Tech to always be in their all whites and
oh no,
Georgia to
I'm
be
talking
in their
about the Gators.
oh the Gators.
Yeah, sorry, that blue. I forgot about Tech in
That
that.
would look Georgia if Georgia wore their homes, if Georgia wore their reds and Florida wore their blues, that would be good.
Yeah, yeah.
What I'm saying is Georgia should wear their blacks and Georgia Tech should wear their whites.
Yeah, I mean Georgia Tech's. I think in the video game, their whites are their home because
Yeah,
they should be.
they are. Yeah, well, they are in real life too. Like
Okay.
I seem to recall that game against Clemson earlier in the year, they wore that. So yeah, I think you can do it. I I just don't think it should always be the case. Like I think that you have to be very specific about it. Like
Ohio State, Michigan.
certainly can do it. That would look really good. That would
I mean,
look
I've
really good.
gone through almost 10 of the biggest rivalries in college football, like Oregon and Washington. Give me the
That would look
green
good.
and give me the purple.
That would look good.
Like, and I mean, obviously, Oregon can do so many things to
Yeah,
beat.
that's the thing. Yeah, yeah,
But even if you just gave me the green, the Rose Bowl, the green,
yeah.
um, with the purple, that fucking works because they're so stark and you just I don't know. Well, because honestly, most schools' whites are so boring, right? That's the
Yeah,
problem. So that's why, especially traditional schools that don't do a lot of
yeah.
variation or have any,
Like Alabama,
pizzazz.
Tennessee, I wouldn't do it. Alabama, Auburn, I'd be hesitant to. Um, you know, like that's one where I think I'd be hesitant with both of those. But like Texas and Oklahoma, I certainly would. I'm even on the fence about that one, like the Texas and the Oklahoma one. Like I think the contrast is nice there too. But like, okay, UCLA, USC do it. BYU, Utah do it. I think if you had Penn State or Ohio State, Michigan do it, I get. I mean, I have to defer to you on Michigan State, Michigan. I don't. I'm not sold on it, but um,
I think it would because again, like Michigan, I mean, what ends up happening is just one school, like Michigan State, when they go on the road, just wears all whites, and it's like, okay, cool, and Michigan wears all blues. I guess like maybe that's it. Maybe it has to be like all whites, and that includes like
oh,
helmet, like
you got to go mono. Yeah, you
like
have
just
to.
the start.
Yeah,
Because then in Michigan, in recent years when it's a big game, defer usually to blue pants, not yellow. So then they're usually pretty all blue with a little bit of yellow,
yeah.
but not much. But I don't know. I just when I see stuff like
It looked
that,
great.
it,
BYU,
it looked
Utah looked really good.
it looked great, and there's just I feel like there's so many rivalries um, where there's such a good or both teams have good home jerseys and they're different enough and I'm thinking like Arkansas LSU, like give me a red and give me some purple, like I feel like that could look pretty cool too, or um even like a Miami Florida State. Like I know there could be a lot going on, but I like Florida State's maroons or
I love
whatever,
their
burgundies.
maroons.
So
Yeah.
then you throw in like, the Hurricanes greens or something like versus just white. I don't know. I just feel like there should Kentucky, Tennessee. Like I think there should be the blue and the orange. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of I really liked what that looked like. And I don't think it necessarily I might feel different if it isn't all one color, right? I think
Mhm.
BYU was all blues, Utah was
I think
all
you
red.
guys see yeah, it has to be schools that will wear one color regularly, right? Like
Yeah.
it would feel weird. I agree with you. It should be monochromatic. It would feel weird if they don't normally wear one color. Like if
Yeah.
they're only doing it for this game.
Yeah.
Um, though it worked here. It worked
Yeah.
here very well.
Yeah. I don't think Utah does that. I think BYU wears all blue. I think they have a bit more like variance, but I don't know if Utah does that very often. They're all reds.
Not often, but I've seen
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Anyway, that caught my mind. Sorry about I interrupted the Holy War, but that stood out to me, and then I immediately said more rivalries should do this. And was just curious on your take.
Mhm, mhm.
I feel like they got to try it out. If you're in the SEC and you don't want to change like a alternate or anything like that, try this on for size.
I think
Right?
Georgia, Florida is probably the best SEC school to do it, but
Okay.
that's also we did just see red and blue, so that
Yeah.
works. Yeah.
Okay. But that game, Great game, right? Bear. I texted you and Dave about this. There's just something about Bachmeyer wearing 47 that is just so unsettling. It's not
Yeah,
even like I try to bring myself into being like, that's so cool, right? Like he's a quarterback with like a fullback. Well, no one wears that. A fullback, like backup fullback,
linebackers,
or uh,
linebackers.
yeah, but even like it's usually like a special teams backer, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
um but yeah, something's unsettling. But man, that was a good game. I mean, I didn't get to watch all of it. I was flipping through other games as well, and I feel uh, Utah probably doesn't feel great about losing that game. From what I understand, from what I missed, it seems like they kind of shot themselves in the foot. Like played better than BYU,
Mm,
but yeah, I mean that was a classic of a game.
yes, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, mainly highlights. I was very single-minded on
Yeah,
Saturday in general. So,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, and I do what I did like about this too is what was it Fox Big Fox Noon or whatever
Big
Portnoy's
noon
on.
kickoff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Noon kickoff. They went out there to that game, so his just travels in Utah. I think he started to get murmurs of how big of a rival and how like nasty of a rivalry it is. And then as he then prompts like, is this really that big of a deal? Obviously, that puts more out there. But it's just I don't know, maybe it's just my timeline, but I kind of appreciated in this case them spotlighting, not necessarily like broadcast, but just him, and especially on social media, really like broadcasting and highlighting how much these schools
Hmm.
hate each
Hmm.
other's guts.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's especially you never hear about Oregon, Washington. Most people don't, especially when this game was played at 10:30. Most people weren't staying up to watch these two schools.
Yeah, I did catch a lot of those clips on Twitter too and everything. It's like, yeah, like that is it's it's a lot of what like we've done too of like and when you do some research and stuff like that, like yeah, sometimes we've been like, yeah, I don't know how well it's how hate everyone is, but sometimes we figure things out. And I think that's one we highlighted with the Holy War is that like, yeah, there is a fair bit of hatred there. And it was great that they brought that to, the national attention
Yeah,
of everyone. It's like, yeah, these Mormons, man, they really I would say
and the
the soakers versus the shakers or so yeah.
and I mean, and it lived up to the bill. And I want to say there was a stat, because I bet this game. I took BYU. Was that like I feel like this game has been decided by a single possession. So, obviously that can extend to seven. It's a crazy amount of times. The last couple decades. I mean, I don't know why I'm sitting here. Um, I can tell you right now. But yeah, so that was interesting to me. So it's not just that these guys are hated rivals, but these games are always close.
Yeah,
So let's see here. The last, so 24-21, 22-21, 26-17. So that was not 30-12, 35-27 was 19-13. I mean, out of the last 10, I think like eight have been one score games.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, and obviously this one was also came down to the wire. So yeah, just an awesome one as well. And then
Yeah.
our trophy, the blue bonnet, which was hilarious because after we had talked about like, oh yeah, I think people kind of not like it, and oh man, we people really don't seem to like this new name.
People hate it.
Timeline
Hate it.
flooded with what's this
Hate it.
bullshit this week?
Hate it. I
Yeah,
mean,
hate it.
I guess if you're trying to get the revivalry going, like okay, and that is a sick name. I do like it, but like
Yeah.
respect the trophy a little bit. It's a pretty sick trophy.
Those people don't even want to hear it even a little bit.
Yeah, no, I guess
Soon
not.
as they heard that name, it didn't even matter what a trophy. They probably were like they just assumed the name was changed, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um
Honestly, though, if you take that trophy and you get rid of Blue Bonnet and replace it with rivalry on the trophy, like, is everyone happy then? Is that all we need to do? Like,
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that was just funny after we talked about it being like, oh yeah, I kind of saw some things that people weren't super psyched about it. Nah, they fucking
yeah,
hated it.
yeah.
And that was the score. The final score was a bit misleading. TCU was up a few scores, and
I
Baylor
know.
kind of
I was like waiting for that game to end after like three lightning delays. I'm like, come on, like let's just call it a day, give TCU the cover, and they had to work for it, man. So
yeah,
like,
they did.
I'm like, come on, let's just end this thing.
And that leads us into the third weekend in October, which I'll just
Third
give a little,
Saturday, third
or
Saturday.
third weekend, yeah, third Saturday in October, and I'll just I joined a fantasy football league at work, and it's with the team that does our sports partnerships. And there's this girl that I've never met her yet because she is a recent hire, and I wasn't able to go to their most recent retreat. But I was just asking because I've been trying to change my name every week depending on who I'm playing. And so with her, I remember when we did our draft, someone said like roll tide, and I was like, okay, wait,
Hmm.
pause. We're doing an NFL draft, but I think it was because she was drafting nothing but Alabama alums, which
Okay,
makes.
all right, respect.
And so then, and she hasn't been very good at fantasy. I think it might have been her first time, but it's just interesting. So I kind of clocked it. And then when I played her this week, I was like, hey, I just want to let you know. I know that Saturday means way more to you than Sundays, like our matchup. And I was just like, roll tide. And it was because you could tell, like, unless you're a college football fan, you're probably not, you don't know what the third, Saturday in October means. And yeah, you could tell she was like, "Oh yeah, definitely like that." I knew college football. Then I asked her about the cigar, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so." I said something like, "I hope you're gonna get to celebrate with the cigar after." And she's like, "Oh, that reminds me, I gotta go get mine." And then I ask you, and I guess can we start there before we talk about the game? Just your point of view on on
I
being a
would.
Bama fan and not partaking in the cigar celebration.
Well, okay. If I was at the game, I would probably get one. But
Okay.
like not being at the game, it feels a little like stolen valor a little bit, you know? Like I wasn't there. I was even in the stands making it very, and Ryan Grubb even said he commended everyone for making it super loud. And a lot of
Yep.
people said that that pick six at the end of the first half was the loudest that Brian Denny has ever been. So kudos to everyone there. Yeah, it feels a little like stolen valor not having it. I also, if I bought it and we didn't win,
Yeah.
I would be so furious at myself, like for having this stupid fucking cigar that like now I just have to throw because I would never smoke it. I
No,
would
you
throw it
can't smoke
away.
it, but you could be
Uh,
cathartic.
Snapping in half and throwing it away. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, yeah. So that's my feelings on the cigar.
Okay.
If I were, if I were there, I'd partake, but not at home. Yeah, I mean, much closer when everyone started lighting up cigars with like 5 minutes left. I'm like, what are we doing, guys? Like, what are we doing? Like, I know that this one seems like it's over, but it's never over in the SEC, especially with this officiating crew. It's never over. And turns out it was in fact over. And no, I mean, honestly, the game should have been much closer. If you know, Heupel didn't do some of the worst play calling clock management you've ever seen in your entire life. I mean, had he even just Bama was not stopping the run. And for those that didn't watch the game, basically what happened is with 9 seconds left and no timeouts and second and goal on like the two, uh Heupel decides to instead of running it, which they're running the ball very successfully, he decides to, you know, have a fullback and a tight end in the backfield. Tight end goes out in the flat. Joey Aguilar tries to hit him in the flat, and the route just gets jumped and gone. House call, pick six as time expires in the half. Incredible 14-point swing. And then Heupel just decided to run the ball because no timeouts left. So just
Yeah.
try run the ball. If it doesn't work, you get nothing, or just kicking the field goal. Like if I were him, I would run the ball because it's like you're doing it with such success. You have them on the ropes. Like you might as well, give that a shot. So I guess he didn't expect to pick six, but like the defense had a pretty good idea to like be aware of a pass in that situation. Because there are no timeouts and there's 9 seconds left on the clock. Like if you pass the ball, you can have two shots at the end zone instead of one, right? So if you run the ball, you get in. But yeah, so uh, you know, it was just I was just like, what is happening here? But that kind of sealed it. I mean, at the beginning of the second half, didn't start great because Bama had a three and out. I think they punted. I think it was a three and out. And then Tennessee went down and scored. But then after that, just a masterful drive by Ty Simpson and ended up putting him away. So I think definitely Bama looked good, but that game was closer than the final score indicated primarily because of that big swing and there was a safety in the first half too which really lended to it, but Tennessee did a really good job of like I think bottling up the offense at different points. They did have a couple good drives, but yeah, it was a nice game, nice win. And to your point earlier, Bama is I forget what stat they have, like they've won, was this their fourth consecutive win against a ranked team,
Yeah.
which is more than any other team. And I think that's like certainly this year, but I think like they're one of very few teams to win, maybe the only team to ever win four consecutive against ranked opponents or something like that. Or,
Yeah, I have some umbrage with what these rankings are, but I will
well, yeah.
say, yeah,
I
but
mean, if you go, yeah,
yeah, I will say, like, obviously, like Vanderbilt's been playing really well. You have obviously Georgia, then Vanderbilt's playing pretty well. Missouri, you could probably I mean, they probably still would be ranked. I don't know that they would have been
they
ranked
deserve
where
to
they
be
are
ranked. I mean, if
because
they,
there's teams
yeah,
like one lost Washington before this last week, like probably should be like there's a few teams that are glaringly missing. And it just seems to be, I don't know. Interesting that a lot of these other schools that are filling the void are always SEC, but that's just kind of what happens. But then Tennessee
yeah,
obviously was like has earned their ranking there. So,
yeah.
but yeah, that's what I mean. It was every letdown after letdown, and it's tough because it's like, okay, you know what this weekend is? A sleepy little game in
Gamecocks.
Columbia
Yeah,
against a team that like did they
just
fire
some Beamer
Beamer?
ball. That's all you
Okay.
got to contend with. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and Beamer's about to get fired, so
Yeah.
it and you we haven't quite seen like a Lenore Sellers game yet, right? Like not a game this year now, but I will say, like you as a Bama fan, you probably shouldn't be afraid because of what they've done four weeks in a row, right? Like
I
it's
will
they've
say I think the
it hasn't
coaching
looked pretty, but they've done the
yeah.
job.
I will say I think that like last year definitely there was a lot of things that DeBoer did that were like very relaxed and laid back. He has turned into a total psychopath now. Like I think he's honestly embracing the dark side. Like he was so fired up coming out of the tunnel. I honestly think the Black Hoodies ganged to him a little bit because like even they brought uh I saw this clip right before we started recording. The wide receivers coach is like talking to people on the sidelines, and he calls Isaiah Horton over, and he like cuts a promo on Isaiah Horton, like using the little girl. He's like, "You see this?" He's like, "You know who this is? You see this little girl? She's come here watch Alabama football. She's come here to watch a great game. You gotta make that happen." Like he's cutting a promo on this wide receiver who's just, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like shakes her hand.
Right,
He's like,
right.
"You be great today. You be great today." And shakes her hand, shake the little boy's hand, shakes their hand. So like, I'm like, oh my God, like this whole coaching staff's full of psychopaths at this point. So
Yeah, I think it really comes down to DeBoer came into Alabama and was like, "Fuck yeah, let's do this, hang loose, like I got you guys." And then after last year felt disappointing, and he was like, "Well, fuck, like we actually were pretty decent." Um, and it was like, okay, whatever. Like I'll still be here. Like we're not going to do Nick Saban, like no music or whatever. I forgot what that big difference was or whatever he let the players DeBoer did that Saban would have never. And then I think after like Tallahassee, I think it became very clear to him that like he could lose his job this year. Like
yeah,
this is not the time and place. There's so much money to go around to be able to buy him out no matter what. So
yeah.
I don't know. Like I think you're right. I don't think it's just because like oh now I'm at Alabama. I think it was like you're about to lose your job. Like you,
I
you
th
can't you can't lose like another couple games here and not make a playoff.
I think he's like, you want the bad guy? I'll be the bad guy. Like yeah, he's just
Thought you said bad cop, bad cop.
oh yeah, he is unhinged now, which is great. That's what we like to see. So
Yeah.
I think it also helps that Ty Simpson is like a very prototypical Nick Saban type quarterback where he's just like, you know, I'm just here to, I just here to thank God and well, credit to everyone else doing a great job. And just very like he's definitely like AJ McCarron and Jake Coker, like the spirit of them, Jalen Hurts for that matter, the spirit of them at QB. So
Yeah, and I
uh,
think like we kind of talked about this a little bit at the very beginning of the year, but I also just think like Simpson is much closer to the type of quarterback he would recruit and like want
yeah,
in his offense
yeah,
than someone like Milrow.
yeah.
Just because like not to say you can't have dynamic things with a quarterback like Milrow, like it
A
happens.
quarterback like Milrow, not Milrow,
Yeah,
but
well,
yeah,
he's still an NFL draft pick, so there's plenty of quarterbacks that were not, maybe like Ewers and co. But
yeah.
um, yeah, so I just think like Simpson is very much in the vein of like Penix, where he's more of a pure passer. Not say he's unathletic, but yeah, just like a rhythm thrower can be accurate. So I think that just fits. And now I feel like they're kind of starting to get into a groove. And then obviously it doesn't hurt when you have NFL talent on the outside running routes. But
That's true.
but yeah, just imagine what this team would look like with Justice Haynes if you did just let him go up north.
What do you do, man?
You're
So
not going to lose that like a transfer battle with Michigan. Gross. I think he like leads the NCAA in rushing yards, doesn't he?
yeah, 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 yeah. It's all right. Daniel Hill looked very good on Saturday too, which makes me happy. That was another thing. Grubb said we are a production based program, and I'm like, hell yeah, we are. Hell yeah,
What
we
other
are.
kind? Please describe to me the alternative to that. A successful alternative to a production
There,
based.
there, no, there's no successful alternatives, but there are alternatives, and they are
You
rampant.
know what we are? We are a game winning program.
Yeah,
Okay. That's what we're set out to do is to
yeah,
win games.
yeah.
Thanks,
Well,
coach. I
no,
thought.
I think there's a lot of people out there that would be like, well, let's defer to the older guy on the roster because he's been here, he's done that. But no, if you're being productive, let's get you on the field. So
Well, yeah, because nowadays the kids that are not 18 are making the same amount of money as the guys at 22. Before, you had to earn your stripes and get the money, in
right,
a paper bag on a bench. Now you have these 18-year-olds getting more money than a dude that's about to get drafted. Sight unseen.
there's a guy in South Carolina that would disagree with that philosophy. So
All right. Anything else from this weekend? I mean, there's plenty to talk about, but we've already been chatting for quite a bit.
no, we're blessed, man. We're living the best timeline right now. That's for
Okay.
sure.
All right, why don't we shift to our trophy and our rivalry? So today we are talking about the Silver Shako game, played between the Citadel and the Virginia Military Institute. And I had asked you this offline because I did not know what a Shako was until I started to research this rivalry, and I was curious because obviously, if you know what that is, then you're gonna know what this trophy looks like, right? But you did not know what, or do not know what a Shako is.
No,
Great.
I have no idea. And I didn't look
Take
it up at
take
your
a
at
guess.
your
What does this trophy, if I'm talking about the silver Shako, tell me what I'm looking at. This is also going to be a hilarious response for people that know what a Shako is.
I mean, okay, so context clues. We're
Hmm?
talking VMI and the Citadel, right? So it's got to be something like I'm thinking something like military related. Um, Something with like a military uniform. Like I don't, part of me thinks like something like a saber, like a formal sword saber or whatever. Um, but like I feel like I would have heard that term if it relates to that. Um, so I don't I have like I don't know. Like not like
What
that
would your wildest non-military guess be?
non-military guess.
Yeah.
Uh Silver Shako. Um like what Shako? Like non-combat related too? Like
I'm just thinking if you were to just be like, or even like a fun, like if I'm just thinking about two Southern schools like that, what could I imagine that, or something that would be so nonsensical for them, like just the
Southern
wildest, like
school
because you're
too.
you're thinking in the right direction, right? Like something to do with military, but what would you be shocked?
Would I be shocked at?
Yeah,
I'd be
that's maybe
shocked
the
if a
better question.
Shaco's like a shake weight. It's just a silver shake weight, or like Shaco. I don't know, like a something related to like a tea party, like
Okay.
some type of like something, like maybe the little thing when you have high tea at high noon, the little like thing that all the
Yeah.
cucumber sandwiches come on.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's a
Oh,
Shako,
okay. Yep.
like
Yeah.
that's I have no like I guess
Hey,
a formal these old military institutions, you have high tea
maybe there's an animal, right? Is a Shako an animal?
no, it doesn't. It feels like a thing, not like an animal. Though, gecko, you're pretty close there. Yeah, I don't know. I think
Yeah.
it something to do with a military uniform, I would imagine, if I had to guess. Although I am talking myself into the thing, like a tea
Did the
party.
Tea Party?
Yeah,
Could you just picture like a couple of Confederate,
that's
generals?
exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like, yeah, yeah,
Stonewall just hanging out.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Um, okay. Well, you're about to find out in a little bit.
All
So
right.
let's do a little bit of a snapshot of the rivalry. And before we get into some of the small school spotlight. So the first matchup between these two schools was in 1920. VMI won 35 to nothing, and they won the first 14 of the first 20 matchups between the two schools. However, the series is actually the Citadel leading with 45 wins to 33 losses to two ties.
That's very surprising. That they went on quite a run there too. If they were up 14-6 and now or if they were down 14-6 and now it's 45 to 33 to
Yeah,
2, that's quite a run.
indeed. So why don't we go to the small school spotlight and we will start with the Citadel. So the Citadel traces its roots to a state arsenal built in response to the fears of slaves uprising. This is something you're going to realize, or I didn't really think about it much, um, but these two military schools were on one side of the war, and I guess I never really thought about which side they would be
Yep,
on.
yep.
But then that came
Virginia and
very
South
evident.
Carolina, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Good news for you. Those are Confederate states, my friend.
Yes, so it is the oldest original, or its oldest origin is of an arsenal and a guardhouse, is how it started. Um, Civil War involvement. So in January 1861, Citadel cadets fired on the Federal steamer Star of the West, one of the early hostile acts leading into the Civil War. And then during Reconstruction, federal troops occupied the Citadel, and it did not resume normal operations again until 1882. And the Citadel is one of the only few U.S. colleges awarded a battle streamer for its involvement, which is the student body's participation in wartime.
You know, that had to be quite the situation, turning the keys back over to the kingdom for that one, huh? Be like, okay, you can train troops here. No more funny business. You cadets can come on back in, but I swear, I got my eye on it. Hey,
Right,
one more wrong move, and
right.
you will be on double secret probation for the remainder of the semester.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that is actually kind of wild to think about.
yeah, yeah.
So the cadet culture and some traditions here. So they have the Summerall Guards. It's a silent drill platoon founded in 1932, and their drill routine, which is the Citadel series, has never been written down. It's just been passed from class to class.
I like that. That's pretty cool. I wonder how it's changed over the years from how it originally started. I guess probably not much with the military institute. You figure it's very,
Yeah,
you get drilled into you. So,
that would be interesting though, because how would you know?
right,
It's
it's a
just
game of
word of mouth.
telephone, right?
Yeah.
At that point. So you would just assume that you have to learn it so perfectly. Yeah, that would be very interesting to see comparison of like the original to now.
So they have an honor code, which is going to shock you. So all students, cadets, and non-cadets pledge not to lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. They do have a cadet-run honor court that administers violations.
Okay.
And then they do have a class ring tradition. So the Citadel ring is a highly symbolic item. Its designed is stable, so it only the class changes, so it looks the same just beside the class number. And the ring ceremony is a very important kind of rite of passage
Hmm.
for everyone that graduates.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you can look at this first picture here. So you are looking at the Paget Thomas Barracks. So this is the principal barracks on campus, and it has the very distinctive tower, which is a 109-foot tower, and this can hold up to 560 cadets.
It does look like it looks like a guardhouse, like a castle. Uh yeah. Looks like Mario should be jumping at the top of that sucker.
And then if you go down to, I guess, the third picture, that is Howie Bell Tower. So that was built in 1954 to honor Major Thomas Howie Dry. Yeah, Major Thomas Howie Dry, and he was killed in World War II. And the tower itself also holds 59 bronze bells and is one of the largest in the Western Hemisphere. Then they play at Johnson Haygood Stadium. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing him. It is the Citadel's football stadium. It seats about 11,000 and is named for a veteran of the Citadel and a Confederate soldier, which was Johnson Haygood. And he eventually became governor, and his major achievement in that 2 year term was the reopening of the Citadel.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Also, very notably, during its construction, remains from a mariner's graveyard was discovered under the site.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. They play at a haunted football stadium.
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah. Don't like that even a little bit.
Yeah. And then they have the core of the cadets march on. It's one of the signature pregame moments, and the cadets march in the stadium. You can see that picture as well. It is they are accompanied by the regimental band and pipes. And historically, the Citadel is best known for its cadets firing what may consider to be the first shots of the Civil War. And oh yeah, and I'd mentioned that earlier, but it happened from Fort Sumter, which is pretty cool.
Right. Right.
All right, on to VMI. So this is the first state-supported military college in the U.S. So VMI, founded in 1839, holds the distinction of being the earliest such institute. It also survived Civil War destruction. So the oldest surviving part of the barracks, which was dating back to 1848, is the only structure of the original post to have survived the Union attacks. It is also holds the Stonewall Jackson's house, so his museum.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So his house in that Lexington, Virginia home is preserved as a museum, which is also kind of just wild to think about, like Stonewall Jackson living
Yeah.
at VMI, but I get it makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
right. Right.
they also have their own opening march on ceremony for their home games. So the Corps Cadets march from their barracks to stadium, and prior to kickoff, and again, this was also led by the regimental band, and in this case, they play Shenandoah or other patriotic tunes. So they have a cannon named Little John. Okay. VMI uses a replica artillery piece called Little John, which is fired at key moments when the cadets take the field after every VMI score and at the end of quarters as well. They also have a rat push-ups, so it's a fun and spirited tradition. Wherever VMI scores, the freshman cadets, which are called rats, perform push-ups for the number of points that are scored.
That's
So they
and
kind of
there's
do
no
the
problem there. Like unlike the duck who might be like,
right.
dying by the time it's all
Yeah,
over. These guys are like, give me more.
yeah. I'm pretty sure if they look terrible, I think that it's just that it's gone, right?
Yeah.
Like it's early enough in your first year where they just say, "Pal, if you can't do these push-ups, this isn't for you."
Get out of here. Yeah. Yeah.
And then they have the cadet attendance requirements and student section. So VMI has a tradition that all cadets are required to attend football games from start to finish. And this helps ensure strong cadet presence in the stands and contributes to the atmosphere.
I mean, what else are you gonna do? I don't know what campus like is what campus life is like at the Citadel and VMI. But I would imagine football games probably top the list of fun activities.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
apparently they needed to put that in place because students, cadets were finding other things to do.
Uh,
To know. All right, let's pivot back to the history of the rivalry and then get to this trophy. So, this game is called the Military Classic of the South. But the original Military Classic of the South was a football game played on Thanksgiving between Virginia Tech and Virginia Military Institute. And that
okay.
happened in 1913 and lasted until 1989 when Virginia Tech expanded its student body. Did you know that Virginia Tech was a military school?
I did not. No.
I sure as hell didn't. So I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole to give you some details on that, even
Okay.
though it has
All right.
nothing to do with these two schools with this trophy. Virginia Tech was incorporated in 1872 as a state supported land grant military institute named Virginia Agricultural and Mechanical College. In 1901, the school became Virginia Polytechnic Institute, VPI, and military training remained compulsory for male students through the early 20th century. But the institution became increasingly focused on engineering and agriculture over just purely military education.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then post World War II is when there was a big shift from 44 to 64. So the Servicemen's Readjustment Act, the GI Bill, brought in a wave of civilian veterans after World War II who wanted a college education. So pressure grew for the school to admit students outside of the Corps cadets.
Mm-hmm.
Through the 1950s, VPI allowed civilian students in graduate and specialized program, but the undergrad still remained, the undergraduate men was still remained to be cadets. And then in 1964, that requirement was formally dropped, and the participation in the Corps became voluntary, ending the school's status as an all-military college. And then after that, civilian halls and programs rapidly expanded.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And okay, so back to this game. The game was played nearly continuously since World War II, with no matchup in since World War II, excuse me, with no matchup in 56, in 04, and then 08 to 2010. The Citadel had won the past 12 meetings before VMI's victory in 2019. And at one point in 1967, I'd mentioned the Citadel, or excuse me, VMI had led the series 18 wins to 8 losses to 1 tie. And then the Citadel has had much more success recently. And then this military classic is the 13th oldest still played rivalry in FCS. So these are FCS schools, not FBS. And then both members were members of the Southern Conference from 1936 until 2003, when VMI left for the Big South Conference. However, they came back to the Southern Conference in 2014.
You said the 13th oldest military rivalry in
No, so
or
this is just the 13th oldest still played
oh,
rivalry.
still play. I'm sorry. I thought you said military rivalry because I was like,
No.
how many
Military.
military? I know Army, Navy, Air Force, those guys, that's three games right there. Uh, but how many, I was like, how many games we got going on here with
We got a
like
lot of
basically,
militia schools
yeah,
down in the South.
that's, I'm like, what is going on? So,
All right. Scroll down. Tell us what a Shako is and tell us what this silver one looks like.
oh, it's the funny hat. Whenever I was looking at the picture of the cadets, I'm like, oh, wonder what that funny hat's called. It's their funny hat. I should probably be a little bit more respectful. But
Probably.
I mean, honestly, we'll call it what it is. It's okay. All right. So, wooden square base, about, it's 6-ish inches tall, with a nice deep rich mahogany. There's a black plaque on the front that says the Military Classic of the South, the Citadel versus Virginia Military Institute. And then on top of that is a silver shako. So a shako, listeners, is a it is the hat that the cadets wear that have a little poof on top. It's all silver. It has like a short brim. It's basically like a visor, but
It is a
then on
visor.
yeah, and then if you think of a visor, just for people who are just listening and haven't seen this, haven't taken a Google it, it's a visor. Pretend you have a visor, right? And then instead of like a hole at the top, it's just a big like coffee coffee can on top, and then a little like stick poking out of the top of the coffee can, uh, with a little feather. But that feather here is all silver. Oh, there's also, instead of like, there's rope hats. Instead of rope, it's a chain. By the way, hat companies, interesting idea. Maybe get into that. Start making chain hats instead of rope hats. And then also etched on there is the seal for what I'm assuming is VMI seal, and then the Citadel seal.
Yeah,
Uh,
if you scroll down, there's a couple of extra pictures.
oh yeah.
One of them has some good detail on.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those are nice seals. Very intricate. VMI seal is neat. It has uh, like a some his like a military, an old school military figure, like old school, like the Trojan type of figure, with a sword or spear and a shield, and it says VMI. It says Virginia. It has like, what are those called? What are those things, EJ? What kind of plant is that?
Oh, olive branch?
No, not an olive branch. It's like the oh, maybe it is an olive branch. I don't know. Uh, yeah, perhaps. And then the Citadels has um it just says the Citadel. Looks like it has a palm, and it has two things that I can't quite tell, but it's nice. It looks pretty cool. It looks sick. It gets to ride the bus. Oh, and there's plaques on the side too, with what looks like the scores. I can come off. All
Yeah.
right, the Shako can come off and can be worn around and does get worn around. Nice. That's good stuff. That is very good stuff there. I tell you what, Citadel has some nice uniforms.
They
Is that
do. They have like
and
the light blues.
is that the Citadel that's light blue?
Yeah,
Yes.
blue on blue.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's sexy. I like that. That looks good.
All right, so
Very good.
I'm going to. So this trophy was created in 1976. Before that number, just so you know. So it's been around for a while. That gets buried a little bit in this story, but on the Citadel website, they do have the legend of the Silver Shako. So I thought I'd just read this. It's not overly long, and this will kind of tell you how this came about. So this is as told by Colonel Jake Burroughs, class of 40 of 1940. He is the former business manager of the Citadel Athletic Department and faculty athletic representative. So shortly after he became president of the Citadel, Lieutenant General Signius asked me to come up with a perpetual trophy that the football teams of the Citadel and VMI could compete for on an annual basis. He had already selected a very appropriate name for the game, the Military Classic of the South. I was at the time the director of student activities and was also the faculty representative for athletics, both of which I had inherited from Colonel David S. McAllister, a Citadel legend who had held those positions for many years. I remembered from my growing up in the Midwest that football teams from the University of Michigan and Minnesota annually played for the Little Brown Jug. It always comes back there, right? It
Yeah,
always comes back to with the winning team taking possession of the trophy until the next year. I believe that the jug was once used by one team's water boy, and after the game, the other team stole the jug. They refused to give it up, saying, "Win it back next year." Thus began a tradition that continues until present. Such a memorable trophy was what I sought. Keep it in mind the roles of each college. I naturally thought of some military item common to both schools. The cadet sword was considered, but discarded as being too unwieldy to make into a trophy.
Ah, it's quitter talk.
The Shako offered a more compact form, and I it envisioned the Shako devices from each school on the front of it. So yeah, so he thought about it and had the logos on there. So a colleague from VMI sent me one of their Shako devices, and I found an old discarded Shako in the Citadel's tailor shop. I then cut holes in the Shako and attached the devices. The pom pom was, of course, included. I took this rough trophy to General Signius and described a wooden base for it on which silver plates would be attached to describe the trophy and to record the yearly results of each game. The general approved the concept and gave me the go ahead. Until this time, only one person at VMI knew what we were planning. The time had come to get VMI's approval of the Military Classic of the South and the proposed trophy. VMI was initially not very enthusiastic about the whole idea. Boo, schools, boo.
Boo.
VMI had traditional rivals in their own state, such as UVA, Virginia Tech, William and Mary, and Richmond. Nonetheless, they shortly approved the process or the project, and we moved on. At this point, I called on Citadel graduate Whit Klein, class of 59, who was then and still a representative of the LG Belfour Company, a nationally known manufacturer of trophies and rings and like items. Many Citadel graduates wear rings manufactured by Belfour. Whit came from his Columbia office, and I described the proposed trophy to him. At the time, I thought Belfour would make a mold of the trophy and cast it perhaps in bronze or another suitable metal. Whit took the Shako with him and soon after called to say that Belfour suggested a silver trophy, which they could make by covering the Shako with a fine silver thread, then melting the thread into a solid coating. That appeared to be a good solution, and the silver Shako had a nice alliterative sound to it. Thus, the silver Shako was born. The cost of the trophy, what was it? What would be your guess? So back in
Silver
1976.
in
Mhm.
76. It's a lot of silver, I feel like. $500? I don't know. There we go. Nice.
$532.72.
Nice.
And VMI paid for half of it because this is a
Oh,
gentlemanly
nice, nice.
rivalry. The Balfour Trophy, the Balfour Company completed the trophy in time for the 1976 game, which was played in Charleston. Bobby Ross, a VMI graduate, was a Citadel coach. The media gave good coverage to the first military classic of the South. The trophy rested upon a velvet-covered table on the
Ooh.
Citadel sideline during the game. The scenario called for the president of each college, the head coaches, and players of each team to meet at the center of the field after the game, and the president of the trophy would present, of the college would present the trophy to the president of the winning college. So it is pretty interesting because this rivalry, because of what the schools are, it has to be like cordial.
Hmm.
And so after this battle, after this game, you're pissed off if you lost. You still have to go out there. You have to be awarded it in a very respectful, timely manner,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is kind of cool. And
Yeah,
obviously from all the different games that we've talked about.
yeah, yeah. Some things, EJ.
And that's it. That's all I got for you.
All right then. Well, it's time. It was very difficult for me to try to
Since you didn't know what a
guess
Shako
since I
was.
had no idea what Shaka was. It also is a little difficult because we are running out of like noteworthiest trophies.
Yeah.
Not really, but it's anyways, okay. Tell me when to stop. Trophy number one. The Freedom Trophy. So we went very military themed here. The Freedom Trophy, well, military heroes, stuff like that, patriotic, whatever. So the Freedom Trophy between Wisconsin and Nebraska is number one. Big ass, big base, with the stadiums there, and then a gigantic car dealership flag come out of the top.
Yeah, I mean, this trophy was, I feel like meh to us. I think what I really like about it is it having the facade of both schools, stadiums on the front of it, or
Hmm.
all around it, the front of those stadiums, because they do both have military backgrounds, veteran backgrounds. Memorial Stadium, Camp Randall. So I did like that. I think the rest of it just is kind of boring, right? The
Yeah,
big flag, the base is way too big. So I think a Shako is pretty cool and unique. So we got to
yeah.
keep going.
All right. Number two, the Heroes Trophy. Again, Nebraska playing Iowa. Uh, Big old base, some nice medals and plaques on it, and then a gigantic football on top.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we hated this trophy.
We we
So
we weren't we weren't super fans of the trophy.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, just basic football on the top. Like I liked, if I remember correctly, I think that what came along with the Heroes Trophy was them spotlighting a local hero from each city, like Iowa City and Lincoln. So I think they had a lot of like, I like the idea of doing that and honoring people. The trophy sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Laurel wreath, by the way, just what I was trying to
Okay.
remember, was laurel wreath is the
Okay.
thing that's surrounding the
Wreath.
VMI. Yes, a laurel wreath. That's surrounding BMI's logo. Number three, our boy Eli Drinkwitz holding the Battle Line Trophy, played between Mizzou and Arkansas. Um, battle line. There you go. Hence, why I chose it for this one. This is a big the outline. The trophy is just essentially a giant outline of the states of Arkansas and Missouri. And then you can insert a yellow or red uh, insert as the line between that connects the two states, and it says battle line on it.
Yeah, I forgot about this trophy. That's
Yeah,
interesting because I think this game is actually going to be played pretty soon here.
it is. It's coming
Um,
up. Yep.
yeah, it is it is a clever idea. I think like for us, it's kind of tricky because I don't know what we rated this, but I'm also just thinking like they obviously have the Golden Boot, with Arkansas and their other border. So I would probably keep moving. I think this one's just okay.
Well, let's
I
keep
like the
moving
Shako better.
south and keep moving to the Golden Boot
Okay.
between and Silver Shako, Golden Boot. So that's
Yeah,
where I came up with this one.
sure.
So
Without knowing it. Um, the problem with me is I do really like the Shako, and I think it's a pretty cool idea, and it looks pretty cool. But the Golden Boot is just,
it's the Golden Boot.
it's the Golden Boot, and it's,
Yeah,
I forgot how big it is. It
yeah,
is
I know.
huge.
I know. That's why I was like, oh yeah, please.
This game's also coming up soon. Um, yeah, I think it does stop here.
I
I think the Golden Boot does it for me more than the Shako.
I think so too. I think so too. It the Shako's sweet. You can wear it. That's pretty awesome and
Yeah,
everything.
that is
And
really cool.
yeah, it does look really good. I do like the Shako quite a bit, and now I know what a Shako is too, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, the Golden Boot's just like just the detail that goes into it, and it just has the boot on it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
so
and it's huge,
yes,
like 3 foot.
yes, yes, yeah. Okay.
So this game will be played in 2 weeks on November 1st, and this is going to be played in South Carolina at the Citadel. Um, because it's 2 weeks away, and truthfully, because they're FCS schools, there really isn't a spread. I will say that the Citadel I mean, there is a spread somewhere, but there it is not. Someone will have a spread for it and will,
Yeah.
accept money. But I was unable to this far out, especially on a game that's FCS, to find it from one of the major books. But Citadel is definitely the better team as of now. I believe. Let's see what their record is. I looked at it before they played. Before they just played this last weekend, so I was unable to know what their records were. So the Citadel is 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 2-3, 3-3, 3-4 with one game in between this rivalry game. And VMI
They are
is 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 1-5, 1-6, 1-6.
mhm. Dead last
So
in the Southern Conference. Yeah.
yes, yeah. Oh, I guess I probably could have just went to the standings, huh? I was doing the counting myself. Yeah, not great. So
Not
it'll
great,
be
Bob.
interesting. They both at least like the Citadel can be at 500, and then maybe VMI can play spoiler. Maybe it's going to be more. It's probably leaning more towards that, but truthfully, people, it might be the type of game if it's even televised or on ESPN Plus to probably just wait till the ceremony at the end of the game.
Yep. Maybe just look for some highlights. Yeah.
Yeah, just look for that Shako at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's gonna do it for us this week. Follow us on Instagram at whiskers.whiskies, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And join us next week when we talk about the milk game. For Mike, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything is bad. Too much good whiskey is barely enough.
Cheers, boys.